Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Well, the story of the day is I am moving. I'm leaving my beautiful house of 30 years and moving 4 houses away. And you would think that would be easy, but it's just as hard to move 4 houses away as it is across the country, I think. So of course we are showing our current house, and I needed to do a little bit of cleaning out, if you know what I mean. And the last room that needed cleaning out was my sewing room. Now, I've been in this sewing room at home for 30 years, so you can imagine that I had a few little things, a few little scraps, if I had 1 ripper, I had 10. I need 10, but I really only need 1. And scissors galore and just all kinds of stuff. And so because I was in a hurry and it was the last room and it was the night before the first showing, I literally put everything that was pretty visible and even sort of semi-hidden into boxes and brought it down to my office, leaving 1 pin magnet with some pins, 1 ripper, 1 pair of scissors, 1 ruler, 1 whatever, just enough so that when all these showings were over, that I could still sew. Well, it's interesting. I learned that you can sew with very little. Now, I'm not here to tell you you need very little, because we need all the stuff. And I can't wait to get my stuff back into my room and set up my new sewing room and all of that. But it was an interesting exercise to know that I really can sew with just a few tools, 1 piece of fabric. I knew what I was going to make this last weekend, so I saved that back, of course. And I got along just fine. So that's my story of the week. My friend Rhonda Gaddy texted me a couple days ago and reminded me that we were featured as a pattern in the latest Threads magazine. And here's a picture of the cover of the magazine. In case you take Threads, it is issue, and I can't read this. It's the latest one. It's a little bit blurry. Latest issue, so check it out. But they are reviewing our Marceau t-shirt. And this is the t-shirt. And I'm getting ready for this t-shirt. It's sort of the season of this kind of t-shirt because one of its best features is the sleeve. It has a beautiful 2-piece sleeve. And the top panel of the sleeve has a couple of pleats in it, so it has this soft bunching at the bottom of the sleeve. So because it's a long sleeve t-shirt and because I prefer it with its long sleeve, I haven't been wearing it this summer, but 'tis the season, and I'm going to get this pattern out and make a Marceau Tee. I can't wait. But I have to say, I have to brag on us for just a little bit, and I also have to thank Patty Robeson of Bellingham, Washington, for writing the review, because she says, the illustrations are clear, concise, and accurate, and all the seam lines and match points align. Yes. The top is easy to make. Yay. And could be an effective stash buster. So thank you, Patty, and thank you, Threads. We appreciate it. So October 1st was last Friday, and it was the day of launching the October So Confident project. And we are really thrilled with the response from people. Here is the project. We're using the London shirt pattern as our pattern. And we are making it as a jacket in what we're calling Boro-Inspired. Now, Boro is a very, very old traditional Japanese technique of mending and repairing, of using work clothes and the shreds of fabrics that are left from very worn garments, and putting them on top of one another, creating a layered fabric, and then stitching them by hand using a sashiko type stitch, a running stitch, in generally white thread, not always, to hold it together and create a new fabric to make a garment. So this has an underlayment of linen fabric, solid linen fabric that's a sort of modeled design, and then we've placed some crinkled linen pieces and patches on top of it and done some hand stitching. So we have the indigo colorway, which we happen to be out of these kits, but we are working on replacing it with something in a blue family. And then we have this kit, which I am really crazy about. I think I might even prefer this one a little bit more, in the sort of gray sandstone slate color, where this time the stitching is actually dark, and we've done the patches in the lighter color. So this kit is available, and we're shipping them right out. So we're very excited about this month. The launch of the video will be October 22nd, and the Q&A for the month will be October 28th. Don't forget to sign up for the monthly class, or you're welcome to sign up for the yearly class, and we do a little numbers adjustment on what you may have already purchased for the year. We subtract that from the price of the yearly fee, and you can get everything from January until now and through the rest of the year. All right, today is Erin's day. She's been working on today's content. You're going to be blown away by what she did. So let's bring Erin on, and she can start in and tell you what's going on.
Hello, how's everybody doing today? So we're going to talk about the Gardenia.
Yeah.
We both have the Gardenia on.
Yes.
Here today.
I forgot I was supposed to walk off.
Well, not now.
Not now. And we don't have a printed pattern to hold it.
Oh, that would have been
nice.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, but never mind. Go ahead. Okay.
So the Gardenia. The Gardenia pattern is a dress and blouse pattern. So you can make it as a blouse, like Linda has on here, or you can make it as a dress. So why don't you grab one of the dresses under that red jacket there,
right?
Quincy, or that one too. And so the Gardenia dress, as it is in the pattern, is this is what it looks like here, a knee-length dress. It has a sleeve here, just a little cut-on sleeve with a sleeve band. And it has some great details here at the neckline. We have a tuck here at the neckline, and then multiple tucks at the waist, which is a great little detail to cinch in the waist a little. And then 2 ties coming out of the tucks, so you can cinch it in. So this is how you can make the dress, and then, or you can make it as a blouse, which has the same tuck detail at the waist and at the neckline.
And I purposely styled it like this, since it's a somewhat sleeveless or short-sleeved garment. How do you wear this year-round? Right. So I put it over a very fitted t-shirt that I normally wouldn't wear except under something, and the 3/4 length sleeve, and kind of styled it with my West End pants that are in the silk linen fabric, one of my favorites. Put on some fancy jewelry, thinking, you know, I would wear this out to dinner, to a little gathering, not formal, but you know, it's a little dressier than I would normally wear maybe to work or around the house for sure. So I think this is a combination of color that we're seeing, this sort of blush tone now with black. So I like how this all kind of came together. But you can wear this Gardenia year-round. Okay.
Right. And so I made the Gardenia, actually I started out with the Gardenia blouse pattern versus the dress pattern. So I wanted to have didn't want to have the sleeve, I didn't want to have the sleeve band, I just wanted it to be a nice sleeveless dress. Because I think sleeveless dresses are sometimes easier to add a jacket over. And so I think it's a lot easier, you don't have a lot of bulk in through your arms, unless it's maybe a long sleeve dress. But I think it's just so much easier to wear a sweater, cardigan, or jackets when you have a sleeveless dress. And it's an easy transition into fall. You know, it's usually somewhat a little bit warm still during the day, but maybe in the morning or in the evening you want to have a jacket on. So I think it's just an easier transition. So let's talk about what I did to the dress first, and then we can transition into what you can wear on top for fall. So what I did take the blouse pattern and I lengthened it instead of using the dress pattern. So Betsy wants me to step back, maybe to show it off a little bit here. And so I took it and I lengthened it by 31 inches because I wanted it to hit at my ankle. I love wearing ankle boots in the fall. I'm really in August, I'm ready to wear ankle boots. I would love to wear ankle boots all year round, to be honest. And so I wanted it to be able to show off the ankle boots. So I had it added 31 inches to make it hit the ankle. So let's talk a little bit about some of the details. All right, can you see that? Okay, so lengthened it 31 inches. I did make it in a size medium, so I didn't change my size or anything like that when I made it into a dress, so I stuck with my regular size. And then what I did is I added these great ties. So the original pattern, like I said, has very narrow ties that come out of this tuck here, and then they tie just on one side, just on the left side. Well, I wanted to cinch it in just a little bit more. And so I decided to make some really wide ties that come out of the side seams. So I made them 30 inches long by 3 inches wide. And as you can see, so this fabric has a really great detail, and this is along the selvage. It has this red strip along the selvage. So I wanted to show that off. And so that was one of the reasons I decided to do the ties and to make them so wide. So I wanted to cinch it in a little bit. So all I do is just tie it up, and it cinches the dress in, which I think is really cute. What I decided to do to figure out where to place the ties, I basted my side seams just to make sure I had the placement just right. I started out putting the ties where the original narrow ties are, and I decided it was a little low. The ties seemed a little heavy, and so I raised it an inch just to make sure it was just right, and then I finished my side seams after that. So some of the other details in making the dress, I did end up using a microtex needle. I know a lot of times around here we just use universal needles, but it wasn't quite right when I was doing the stitching. So I switched to a microtex needle mainly because that was the next one in my drawer. I was like, let's try this. Let's see if it works, and it worked. And I used a size 70. And then of course I used Fusi-web. Can't have a project without using Fusi-web. And I used that on the hems. And when I did, so the neckline has this great drape up at the top. I think it's a really cute detail, but I also thought if I'm gonna wear sweaters and jackets on top, I didn't want to have that detail just flopping down. So I decided to tack that along the neckline there. I don't know if you can see that. I can get a little closer. Probably not because it's stitched in black there. But I thought that would be really nice, so that would lay nice and flat when I have a jacket on.
Well, the fabric you used is it rayon? Is it viscose?
It is. Mm-hmm.
So that is why you used the needle that you used. And it's a fabric that had this border.
Right.
So that is, talk about how you decided to place that border on the garment too.
Right, I did place it on the right side seam, right here. I'm gonna untie this so you can see it a little easier. So with the shape of the pattern piece, I was able to start the red detail all the way at the shoulder seam, and then it extends all the way down to the hem. I don't know if you can see that. So I was able to use it on just one side. I thought it would add just a little bit of detail on one side instead of balancing it on both sides. I like that it's just on the one side. Mm-hmm.
I think it's fabulous. I mean, I really, really do. The combination of using that border, it appears to be off-center, which I like, even though it's at the side seam, but with the belt it kind of brings it forward. So it adds that asymmetry to the look. And then to repeat that for the belt is just perfect. So.
Well, and one thing you can actually do, and I wouldn't have thought of this until, you know, I tried it on for my husband and he was like, oh, that's cute, but you know, you should do this instead, which is like his MO. It's great, but I have some better ideas for you. Yeah. So he's a designer, he's an architect, so he always has to give his input. But it is a great idea. You can actually loop it around to the back and bring it to the front and have still have your same little tie, a little shorter, but you can still have the same detail. And then you can see the red a little bit better.
Yeah, that's great too.
So I think
Yeah.
you can do it either
For
way.
someone who is constantly wanting to accentuate their figure, which you have, not all of us have that, it's a great idea to cinch it in all the way around. Yeah,
So either way.
fantastic. All right. What are we going to put on top of it?
Yeah, so there were quite a few, we have quite a few sweater and jacket patterns. And so I was going through and trying to see which would work, 'cause there's so much great detail on this dress, so you don't want it to cover it up too much. So our Madrid is a great, this is one you made last year. And I actually wouldn't have thought about it until you brought it up, because it also has so much detail on the front, and you traditionally are gonna, button it at the angle like that. But if you leave it open and kind of have it a little slouchy, I think if you leave it open a little bit so you can still see the tie and show off the detail a little bit, it works out really well.
Yeah, I think I like this a lot as a cardigan. I probably wouldn't even put the buttons on it. I wouldn't bother with the buttonholes. I would just make it and let it be a drapey jacket. And you could even lengthen it and make it just a little bit longer. But I like, when you have a lot of drape like this and then you have a tapered sleeve, that's the balance. If this were a big wide sleeve, then the whole thing would look too oversized, I think, with the look. So the fact that it has a tapered sleeve kind of saves it to be used as a cardigan.
And did you lengthen this a little bit from the
The
original?
only thing I do on this Madrid is I lengthen the right-hand side only 1 inch, I think.
Okay.
2 inches maybe, but I think it's 1 inch. I'd have to look at my pattern. A little bit. Now I did that. I don't know that I would have to do it on the cardigan, but on when I button it, I like to have a little more coverage over my tummy, which is why I do that. But I think for a cardigan, I like the idea of lengthening it a couple of inches, 1 or 2 inches. So yeah, actually the buttons aren't a bad detail, just even if you don't use them. Now that I think about it. So, yeah.
So this is a good pattern. Oh, you want me to turn around?
So this is a rib. It's not a rib knit, but it has a rib.
I think we call it rib knit on the website.
Do we? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I like the texture of it.
So another pattern that's great to wear with a gardenia is the Quincy. And this is also in a knit. This is a ponte knit. So the Quincy is really just a great everyday jacket. I think it can go with a lot of different things. You can make it a little longer, like this one's made a little longer. You can make it the shorter, more cropped version, which I think would also look really cute in the dress, with the dress. But this is just a nice neutral charcoal gray ponte knit that you could wear with it. It doesn't hide the details of the dress. You can wear it a little bit open like that. It's perfect. It's the perfect layer.
I think this might be the short one.
Yes, this is the original length.
Yeah, and I think this one is 2 inches longer. Yeah.
And what I love about this is you can see that you can wear it with the original length of the Gardenia dress. You can, it's a great silhouette for that. And I did try all these on to see how the sleeves worked. And so it definitely, even if you're going to make the sleeve of the Gardenia dress with the sleeve band, it still works with the Quincy Jacket, the Madrid, and another pattern, the Stafford, that we're going to show you. So it works whether you're going to do the sleeveless version or the sleeve band version. I think this is my favorite. So before I try it on, you can see that you can wear, this is a Stafford, and you can wear it with, whether you make a dress or make a blouse, you can wear it on top. So this is the Gardenia blouse underneath with the Stafford on top. So I think the lengths work. I think the length of the jacket versus the length of the blouse looks really nice together. This is a sheer embroidered, is that a silk?
I don't know what's going on here. It's this isn't tied in a different. Oh no, wait.
Maybe this is one of the.
Yeah, this is like
the
a little
first go
prototype
around.
or something. There we go. Okay.
So this is what the Stafford looks like on top of the Gardenia. Of course, I think the color is fantastic with it. So that's,
Yeah, that fabric seems to go with like anything. Yeah.
So, but this is what it looks like. You can make it in a jean fabric. That's kind of traditionally how we use the Stafford. But then you can also do it. You could do it in a knit. You could do it in a sweater knit. You can do it in this jacquard.
Yep.
So
Here's the jean one over there.
yes, this is the jean jacket. So again, showing it with the pattern length dress. You know, the sleeve fits in there nicely. And I love the jean with the red. I love the denim with the red. I think that's fantastic. So the length works, I think. I mean, you're seeing a lot of these oversized, cropped jackets right now.
Right.
And I think it's a nice look. I like it.
So for people who want to know a little bit more about how to sew with sweater knits, what are we going to tell them?
Well, with sweater knits, these sweater knits that we have here, I think are really easy to work with. They're stable, so they're not going to move around on you a lot. But I think just with anything, Fusi-web.
Right.
Fusi-web, Fusi-web,
But
Fusi-web.
even with this, see, we say that though, because we've sewn with it and we don't have trouble with it and we're using the right stuff.
True.
Then there are people at home who maybe haven't dialed in to their walking feet, their paper stabilizer, the use of Fusi-web to nail down the hems. And so if you take any sweater knit, a sweater knit definitely generally has some sort of a lofty sponginess to it. You could have trouble if you're just putting it under a sewing machine and trying to sew it. I think a walking foot is number one.
Definitely.
That helps you with the sponginess of a fabric and helping it feed through the sewing machine through under the throat or on top of the throat plate and under the presser foot. That and Fusi-web are two essentials. It was Elizabeth, a friend of mine, who actually emailed me yesterday and said she always has a mess when she's sewing with sweater knits. And I didn't get really the details about what her mess is, so we didn't get a chance to talk about whether she's using a walking foot and all of that. But in my book, Sewing Knits from Fit to Finish, I do have tricks of how to sew sweater knits and loftier things and all kinds of knits. But also in my Craftsy class called You Can Sew That, I have a whole lesson on how to sew sweater knits. So Elizabeth and others, you might want to check that out. That's a pretty good class, and that still exists with Craftsy. So check that out. Polyester thread.
I think one of the things when I'm working with sweater knits that I have to be careful with is my steaming and my pressing, making sure not to overpress it, lightly touching the iron to the fabric,
Right.
so it's not shiny,
Right.
so it doesn't stretch out.
And a lot of times on our hems, on our garments, we use double fold hems in the instructions, but you want to delete that with sweater knits. You want to turn it once. So I would make a sample, and if the raw edge of the sweater knit is decent enough, I wouldn't even finish the edges and then turn them, apply the Fusi-web and turn the hems and top stitch. But more than likely, you're going to be 3 thread serging the edge. Keep as much thread out of it as possible, and then it's a nice finish with 1 turn rather than 2 turns. That's too bulky. So just because we say to do things in the guide sheet or any pattern tells you to do such a thing in a guide sheet, you have to determine what works best for your fabric. And so I consider a guide sheet more of an order of construction, and the details might change in terms of seam finish recommendations or hem finish recommendations based on your fabric. And you have to make samples. You have to sew, you have to cut those samples up, sew your seams, figure out whether it's pressed one way and serged or it has to be open. Sometimes a seam is too bulky to be doubled. Maybe it's overlapping. You got to test all those out before you ever touch the garment.
Right. Right. So what would be your favorite combination about all the patterns with the Gardenia? What do you think?
Well, I'm pretty crazy about the Madrid. It's one of my favorite patterns.
Does that work over what you have on?
Well, let's see. I don't know. I haven't had it on. But I think so.
Because even though you have your base layer of the t-shirt, and then you have the
Right.
gardenia,
Right.
and then, but as it gets cooler, you could even
Yeah, I can
go for the third
push up
layer.
my sleeves and does it look all
I
right?
like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I like this a lot, and I love the way this particular fabric, which is a sweater knit. A lot of sweater knits are pretty drapey, not all of them, of course, but this, I love the drape of this fabric, and it's not too heavy, not too light. It's just a good weight for 9 months out of the year.
I like it.
Yeah,
And that's the sweater knits that we have.
That's
that
right.
We have back here.
we have
So-
3 of them.
Right. This is the same color that you have on here, and then we have a red,
Yep.
and then
Erin's favorite color.
kind of a pine green. I love it.
I know, Erin's into green. Pine greens and yellow green, dark
Just
hunter
any
greens.
hunter green, and I
yeah.
think they're a good. I like using color as neutrals. You know.
Yeah,
I think.
and this, people are always asking us about what kind of red is this? This is a blue red.
Yes, blue red.
Yeah,
But it's got a nice. I think it's really nice.
yeah. These ribs run horizontal, but don't let that scare you that it's a horizontal stripe, because it just doesn't read that way. Well, and then if you make something like this, you have different angles going on. Well, no, I guess you don't, actually. I think your
It has
eye is
the-
tricked a little
right.
bit from seeing it as a horizontal something or other.
Right, and it's a tone on tone. I mean, I think with.
Yeah. This is not a great color with this, would you say?
Don't
Don't do that.
with the black.
It's good with the black, but yeah, I'm going to get this off right away, right now. Yeah, not a good, it's kind of my kind of color, but, well, we'll put it over. You know, I wondered where this was when I was looking for this.
there you go.
You had stolen it. So it looks good with that, but it also, yeah.
That's true.
So, okay.
All right. Well, should we take a look at some fabrics?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. So we already showed you the rib sweater knits, but let's move on to some of the other sweater knits that we have here. So I did forget to look up what this was, but I think it's a kind of a rayon poly blend
I think so.
knit, a quilted knit. That's really nice, and I like cranberry red color. Heathered.
It has a little diamond shape quilted effect. Would you use the back side of this? I don't know.
I don't think I would.
Maybe for just an edge or something, some piping or an edge or a little hem that's turned to the outside or something.
I think this is really interesting. It's got a heathered look to it. So I think it's really great. I think you could dress it up, or you could have it as more of a sportswear, you know, bomber jacket, that sort of thing. And then we have these heavier sweater knits, or mid-weight sweater knits, I shouldn't say heavy, but mid-weight sweater knits, nice and soft. This is also a rayon poly blend, nylon, has some nylon in it.
This is so soft. In fact, when you look at this, it has the characteristic visually of a ponte, but it doesn't have the feel of ponte at all.
No.
But if you're just standing back and looking at it, it's a smooth, fairly smooth finish, matte, smooth finish. But you can see the ribs. So it's an interlock. This doesn't curl, I don't think. So this would be easy to work with. Doesn't curl. So that's good.
So we have it in this green, kind of an army green, and then a navy. It's the same. It's really nice.
These are heavy. You know, when you hold them up, your arm gets tired. That's how you can tell that a fabric's going to be nice and drapey.
right.
So you pulled out these colors because you like a lot of them with the prints that could be the
Yes.
dress or the blouse.
Right, exactly. So I think actually most of these colors work with any of the prints.
Exactly.
So let's start with the paisley here. So this is a rayon, nice and draped. I mean, any of these are perfect for the dress. Just they have the right weight, and they're not too thin, not too flimsy. So I think for fall, they're just perfect.
Right. For those of you who are members of So Confident, we have just a little bit of fabric left over from the March Ikena jacket kits, and that's what this is.
Right.
So if you have your Ikena kit and haven't made it, well, you can make a dress.
change course
There
a
you
little
go.
bit.
But we had this fabric especially printed for us in Europe, and we ordered a lot of it. So we're particularly fond of it. Yeah.
And then this one, I think this is a linen rayon, if I'm...
This is rayon linen, and this is an interesting fabric. I've never seen anything quite like this.
No.
It has a definite, well,
got a texture
you can
to
see
it.
the weave of it, but it's drapey, and so it surprises you when you actually feel it. But that color, that is a fantastic background color.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
a rich pumpkin orange October color.
Yes, it just
But the fact that it
screams
brings
fall.
in purple and pink and teal, that makes it work
Right.
for all kinds of color people.
Right. Well, that's true, and I think all year round. I mean, I think all these fabrics, since they're mainly have rayon in them, I think they can work all
Right.
year round. So really, maybe color-wise, we're thinking fall, but I think you could wear them year round.
Absolutely.
And
This is the
then-
one you have. And this has a little, this is like a little crepe. It's not a true crepe. Yeah, I guess maybe it is. Almost like a file. Tiny, tiny, tiny little weave to it, but super drapey, and you can tell that it's just fantastic for the dress.
Yeah, just perfect for the dress.
And you've got two borders to work with.
right.
Left hand. So you have plenty of borders if you want to do, like you could do an accent around the neck, the hem. You could add a border, you can add borders anywhere on it actually. Because this is a fabric you could cut cross grain or lengthwise grain. So the border could be horizontal, let's say at the bottom, or somewhere near the bottom, or something like that.
Right.
If you wanted to change it up.
I know. I thought it would be nice in the Weston pants or something. You know,
Yeah.
if you had that border at the bottom, or if you did it, along the side.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And what I think is really interesting is the floral, the red, which I really liked. But that was also made it to where you really had to think about how you wanted to place the ties when I was working with it.
Oh,
And I wanted to be able to see both the red and the black, and to focus on the floral. I didn't want to cut it off. So that took some.
Yeah, do
thinking.
that around again so they can see what you're talking about. Oh, so it's like half and half. So you have
Right.
folded the border in half.
Right. So you
Yeah.
could see both the red and the black. And that was another reason. I know traditionally on ties you might see it where it's angled at the bottom, but since I wanted to, that was a little trickier to do, since I wanted to incorporate both the red and the black and keep the
That would have
floral.
required thought.
I know, I was like,
We don't have to do that. You'd already thought about the placement. Yeah, that's way too many details.
exactly.
But no, I like the squared off. I think it
So,
fits the characteristic of that. Yeah, I like that when it's tied in front because you can see the border repetition a little bit, both kind of off center. All right, this is your favorite fabric, isn't it?
I love this. I think I'm going to be very sad if it's all gone by the end of the week.
Yeah.
But also extremely happy because it's beautiful, and I think
Yeah.
you guys will love it. But I love this. It's got an interesting texture to it.
Well, it looks like a tapestry. It looks like a woven tapestry, but it's a print. And you don't see that very often. And this rich floral, very English or Italian or French or whatever, but definitely European, amazing depth of. This is probably a digital print. I don't really know. It came from Italy. So we don't always know how it's all done, but boy, looks like a rich tapestry.
I know, and I think it has some silk in it. It doesn't have a tag,
Maybe.
but I'm pretty sure it has silk in it. I remember
Okay.
looking at it because I've been looking and
Rayon
looking
and silk.
looking at this fabric since we got it in.
I know, you better get some
I
today.
know, I really need to.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Weston pants. And then we have this beautiful orange print, another crepe.
Now this is Dolce & Gabbana.
Oh.
Yeah. And Dolce & Gabbana would have combined this with any of these in their current line.
Right.
I mean, every one of these would have been in a jacket or mixed garment pieces or whatever. This is beautiful.
Right.
This luscious tangerine color with the pink flowers is amazing.
They would have made this dress and had all different fabrics, a different fabric for the front, different fabric for the ties, the back. They would have pieced it. They would, you know.
So this is viscose, but this is not like any viscose that you see. It's not like a wispy rayon challis. This has some guts to it, and yet it's still drapey. So it's an amazing fabric. I might have to get some of this, actually. Now that
We want a piece of every single one of these.
it's a horrible thing to work here. All right, now this is a more traditional challis.
Now this is your favorite.
This is my favorite, and this is viscose, and this is reminiscent of Etro, the designer that I really like. But it has these diagonal, almost paisley floral. Yeah, this has got to be.
And look at this with it peaks.
I know.
gold,
Look at that.
orange,
Look at them together.
and the pink. I know. That's so fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Love that.
Yeah, you did a good job of picking out fabrics today, Erin.
Well,
Fantastic.
I was just like, I love all these. I just started picking ones I liked and then placing them on the table, and then all of a sudden they all work together. And,
Yeah.
So it was. So up here we have another rayon, another viscose over here.
Yeah, this is so interesting with something like this. It works with the red.
I think this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Another kind of lightweight viscose.
Yeah. You could even pull out this sort of salmon color if you wanted to bring it into a more southern look, you know, if like at Florida, for example, you know, where you're wanting to get into fall with a lightweight fabric, and then instead of doing something dark with it, you pull out something light, either the golden color or the salmon color or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that pulls us into this one. Some
Yeah.
similar colors in this one. This one.
That one is Dolce & Gabbana too.
It says it's viscose, but man, it really has just this quality to it that feels like it has
It's a
some
twill. So
cotton
this
in it.
is a little different characteristic, but again, super drapey, but it is a twill. So Dolce & Gabbana here and here, Etro here, Italy, we don't know. Where it is.
fantastic and beautiful
Yeah.
there.
So I think these were printed in England, weren't they? Or, do you remember?
I think those are Italy.
Italy.
Italy? Okay. Okay. All right. So beautiful. So many of these sweaters go with all of this.
Yeah, let's pick these up and see what they go with. Like I was thinking the navy, you know, you'd come over here
Yeah.
and put the navy with these two. I think that would be fantastic. I think this Etro one down here would look great with the navy. I think that's really pretty, even up to the orange.
Yep. This
I
one.
think that's great.
Yep.
And then the green. The green pretty much goes
Pretty
with
much.
every single thing on this side.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, and I even think over here, I like pairing a nice olive green with pretty much everything. And then this Merlot color I think looks nice over here. I like that. And this one also I think looks good with
This
pretty
one.
much every single thing. Definitely the bottom,
Yeah.
the Etro. And then the pine green I love, of course, looks good with my favorite fabric
Oh,
here,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Looks great with this one too. I think you can wear it with this one too.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's great. What about the red?
Yeah. The red goes with yours. Goes with this one. You know, I love pairing red and orange. Did you have that on the other day? A red something with an orange something? Maybe,
I've forgotten already.
maybe not. But I'm of the era of the 70s where we were combining pink and orange, red and orange, and we're back to that. So
Yeah, you do see a lot of orange and pink, especially,
Yeah.
and that's going on in the fabric here.
exactly.
Right. I think this is maybe the wrong red for this one here, like the dress I have on.
That has a little more of an orange red
Orange
to it.
red.
Yeah.
This is the color I think looks great with this fabric.
Yeah.
I think this can go over here on this side. And this is another neutral. I think like the olive green is a neutral. This is a great neutral that I think can go with most of these here. I think these top three, definitely.
Yes, for sure. All right. Well, questions?
Get everything?
Did we cover everything?
I think so.
Linda, can you remind them that you're wearing the Gardenia top?
I am wearing the Gardenia top over just a t-shirt, and I'm wearing them with the West End pants.
What fabric is the red Gardenia dress made from? Is it a knit?
No, the red Gardenia dress is our viscose linen. Our famous viscose linen.
Right. We have a lot of new colors in this.
We do. It's one of our favorite fabrics.
Why did Erin lengthen the blouse instead of the dress?
So why did I lengthen the blouse instead of the dress? I wanted to keep I wanted the sleeveless version, not the sleeve band version. And so I just thought that's going to be the easiest thing for me. So I just, at the lengthening and shortening lines, I lengthened it the 31 inches, and then I trued up the side seams. But it was a pretty easy transition, I thought, just to lengthen the blouse. So there wasn't as I know you could transpose and put the blouse details onto the dress length, but since I wanted it full length anyways, I needed to lengthen it. I would need to lengthen either pattern either way. So I chose to start with the blouse.
I think that's the smart thing to do. Yeah.
In what way is a microtex needle different than a universal needle?
Well,
So how is a microtex needle different than a universal needle?
I don't know if I know the answer to that specifically. You know, you can go to the Schmetz website, and they have descriptions of every needle. Now, in theory, I think the microtex needles are sharper. So they have a different shape to the point and probably a different shape to the groove at the back. I can't tell you specifically what the difference is, but go to the Schmetz website, because it's a fantastic website that describes all of the needles and why you use them and the characteristics of them.
That sounds like something, we used to have cards. That sounds like a great thing to put in your drawer next to your sewing machine.
Exactly. We used to have some giveaway cards. That's right. Yeah.
Yardage for your dress.
I remember I cut off 3 yards of the fabric to start with. I think I used a little bit less, but I just wanted to have enough in order to do my ties, in order to lengthen it, and also work with the border. So, and I think that's a good amount of yardage for a dress, a long dress.
Right.
2 Madrid questions. 1, what fabric was used in the draping Madrid? Follow-up, would you do a Madrid in boiled wool?
All right, so the fabric that was used in this Madrid is this fabric right here, which is our sweater knit.
These are rib sweater knits, so these are these 3 are on the promotion today.
Right. And the question is, would I make the Madrid in boiled wool? Now, there's a lot of boiled wool can come in many forms, and traditional boiled wool probably is too heavy. But there are boiled wool like things, like we have our boucle, what we call English boucle fabrics, which is rayon and wool, and that has some drape to it. And I would make this in that fabric. And I would take certain sweaters and wash them, and you probably would get something you could use. But you don't want something that's stiff as a board. I think this garment needs to drape.
Did you add any width at the hips when you lengthened the blouse?
No, I didn't. I just...
She did not lengthen, pardon me.
Yes, no, good.
Betsy's not mic'd, so...
Sorry about that. So the question was whether I added any width at the hips when I lengthened the blouse, and no, I didn't. So when I lengthened it from the lengthening and shortening lines, I just lengthened it to 31 inches, and then I connected from the top and at the side seams down to the bottom. And I didn't have any problems. Made the same size. I made a size medium, and that's what I would traditionally wear in the blouse.
What is at the neckline of Linda's Gardenia?
Oh.
That shiny necklace.
What is at the neckline of Linda's Gardenia?
Well, this is a necklace that I bought when Alex and I were in Barcelona. Some cheap shop. And I know what it was. I saw it on a mannequin in the window of a shop in Barcelona, and it was shown on top of a white, traditional, classic white shirt, buttoned to the neck, and this necklace just peeked out under the collar, which I really loved. So I bought it, and this is the first time I've worn it. And that was 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Well, and it's perfect. It picks up
I know, I
the
just
color
love
in
it.
your pants.
Well, I just wanted to show something sparkly to note that I think this garment can be dressed up. So that's why I chose it today. But you remember, I'm cleaning out, found this necklace.
How do you mark your sweater knits when cutting out the pattern?
How do you mark your sweater knits when you're cutting out a pattern? I think first of all, when you're cutting out sweater knits, I would use pattern weights and a rotary cutter when you're working with it. And then I know sometimes you can use pins to do your markings instead of the notches, instead of clipping out the notches, because that could cause it
Safety pins.
to ravel.
But really, tailor tacks
True.
is the way to mark the inner markings, the dots. But you're right, for notches, unless you're going to finish the edges, if you're clipping the notches, you want them to be pretty shallow so that when you finish them, that's not going to ravel out right there or look kind of funny. But you can put little tiny safety pins wherever there's a notch. That's one of the tricks that's in that book. But tailor tacks are pretty essential, I think.
Will a sweater knit work using an E-shrug?
Will a sweater knit work using an E-shrug? Yes, you could definitely use the sweater knits for an E-shrug. I think as far as with the Gardenia, I did try on an E-shrug with the Gardenia, and I didn't love all the draping on it with this dress myself.
But we've talked about the fact that not every sweater knit has a really great looking raw edge, and technically the E-shrug is made with a raw edge. I think you would have to consider either turning the edges, serging the edges, or binding the edges of the E-shrug if you're going to make it in a sweater knit. It would depend on your sweater knit.
Like I think this one here
Yes.
wouldn't look nice raw.
Absolutely.
It would have a nice clean edge, so I don't think you'd have to worry about anything raveling.
I'm not sure about these rib knits, whether they're going to have a good edge or not. Now, it might be that you could use a selvage. Sometimes you can cut out the E-shrug with the selvage along the front edge. That has to be really taken under consideration depending on the width and your size and all that. But sometimes I've done that. So.
After you serge the hem and turn it up, are you stitching on a regular machine with a straight stitch?
So when you're turning up your hem, are you using a regular machine to do that? On a sweater knit, I'm guessing.
Generally, yes. But you can use your cover stitch machine. Depends on the garment and the look. So this particular garment, the hems are finished with a 3-thread, serge finish, turned up, and then top stitched on the sewing machine. Now, if I were making something a little more fitted, maybe I would consider a cover stitch. I don't use twin needles, but it's certainly an option if you need to be able to stretch something at the bottom. But I like a simple top stitching on a sewing machine.
Right. A lot of our garments aren't fitted, so I think it works. Would you ever do a zigzag?
Yeah.
Would that be an option?
Absolutely.
Does the red sweater knit go with the paisley? Could you show them together, please?
Does the red sweater knit go with the paisley? And I would say yes.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of different reds in the paisley. I think there's warmer and cooler reds in here. So I think it's a nice combination.
Did you narrow your West End pants?
I did not narrow my West End pants. This is straight out of the package. No adjustments whatsoever to the pattern. See, there's an advantage to owning a pattern company. You can make the patterns fit you, so I don't have to do many adjustments.
I think it's one of those patterns too that, like, if you choose the appropriate fabric, they're not too wide, they're not too narrow.
Right.
I mean, they're just a perfect, and they have a lot of drape.
Yeah.
Are the stitch patterns available on the London jacket?
Are the stitch patterns available on the London jacket?
So part of the video that I will be filming this Friday is to talk in great detail, really, about the application of the patches and the stitching process. And I'm going to show some options of some stitching patterns. So in the prep letter that we sent out last Friday, Erin did some schematics of ideas for placing the patches, of where to put them, how many patches, sizes of patches, and where to place them. It's just a suggestion. You can do whatever you want to do, but we do give you some quite detailed information about patches. And then in the video, I will have the stitching process. But the stitching pattern is pretty random, actually. We're not saying stitch 3 rows here vertically and 2 inches up, stitch 4 rows horizontally. We're not going to do that, but we're going to give you ideas of stitch patterns.
What's the fabrication of your gardenia?
My gardenia is a sheer, kind of a novelty sheer silk organza with some threads. It's actually a double organza. This is old. This pattern has a history with us. We were going to bring this pattern out years and years ago and did not. I don't remember why. And so this was made the first round years ago.
Right.
And so then people kept coming to our So Kansas events, seeing this garment, saying they love it, please put it out. We decided to do that, and so this came up from the vault and has reappeared again. But it's sheer, and that's really why I wanted to wear it as well. And I wanted to wear it over a garment that kind of showed a silhouette under it. So it didn't fill out the whole garment, that, there's some air that you could kind of see a shape underneath it.
Can you show the slate gray sample again, please?
Erin called this sandstone, and now that I look at it, I think she was actually more right. I made her change it to slate gray, but I think maybe it is more sandstone than slate gray. But this is a charcoal thread on a sort of parchment-colored linen over gray and neutral background.
It's a combination of both colors.
Yeah,
I
love
really
this.
look at it, but it all meshes very well.
These are all raw edge patches, part of its handcrafted look.
Is the E shrug the same as the ET?
Is the E shrug the same as the ET? No. So the ET is, I'd say, just a traditional, like, fitted short sleeve t-shirt, crew neck, short sleeve, has a nice shape in through the waist, and then a rounded hem. And then the E shrug is a short sleeve, drapey front cardigan. You can make it short sleeve. We do have instructions on making it longer and long sleeve.
And you can wear the E shrug over the ET.
Yeah, very true.
All E.
Yeah, the whole E. Every time you see a pattern, and we have more patterns that have the letter E in front of them, that means it's an electronic download pattern. We've gotten away from that a little bit, but the first 6 or 7 patterns that we did as downloads had E in front of them as an identifier.
What pattern is the cropped jacket?
maybe the Stafford.
Or the Quincy. I don't know.
We'll show them both.
Yeah.
So this one is the Quincy, and it has a zipper front. And I'd say it is more cropped, maybe. And then the Stafford.
Stafford jacket is more like a jean jacket with the detailing of a jean jacket with this Western yoke and flap and insert.
Right.
If someone did not purchase a London kit, can they call to have you guys give them choices for a jacket?
If you didn't purchase a London kit, you're welcome to call us and we'll put something together for you. I had a call yesterday from someone who had an idea for the base of the fabric, which was a really wild print. And so we chose something to go over the top of it. So there are a lot of options. Your garment does not need to look like a Boro jacket at all for the London shirt. There are lots of possibilities. I remember a little while back, Samantha Plow came and she made this concept using a silk print with a knit overlay or reverse. I'm not really sure which one it was, but knit, and so that's an option. There are lots of possibilities. So don't feel like you have to be stuck with just the two options that we have.
All right, that's all we've got.
All right, well, thank you, Betsy, for being behind the camera today. It's rare to have Betsy with us, but we love it whenever she comes. So we have some specials.
Yes, let's make sure we get our specials here. All the patterns that are on sale, 15% off, correct? So we have the Stafford, the Madrid, the Quincy, and the Gardenia.
And the Gardenia is both digital and print now.
Yes.
As is the Stafford.
Yes.
As is the Stafford.
The Stafford is also digital and print. And then we have all our fabrics are 15% off. All the fabrics that you see here, the sweater knits and the printed rayons, these are all on sale. And then we actually do have a couple tutorials that are on sale. So we have loops and tubes. And that tutorial, so when you're making the traditional gardenia and you do the ties, the narrow ties at the side, this is a great tutorial to learn a few techniques for that.
That and a couple of other tube-like things as well. It has more than just this.
Right, right. It talks about how you can do it with tools, without tools. So that's a great little tutorial. And then the other one is 1 bias strip and 4 stylish looks.
So that's all about these neckline options. You don't have to do it like we say to in the Gardenia pattern. There are other options for finishing necklines in a clean way.
Right, so all about how to do these bias neckline finishes.
Shaping them and making sure that they're even and the top stitching looks good.
The shaping, that's
the
key.
shaping. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so that is our those are our specials.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Erin, for putting this together today. Thanks, Betsy, for being our good camera woman. So we'll see you next week.
Thanks.